Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to be discussing the 5 things I hate about having parrots. Now, as a little disclaimer, I love my parrots, but there are things that annoy me about them, so I thought it'd be cool to do a little video just talking about those things that I find difficult, and maybe it's something that you'd share with me as an opinion, and also to warn new bird owners there are difficulties and you will have some problems when you have them because it's just part and parcel of keeping them. Now, if you can get over these problems like me and Sophie, then I would suggest that parrots are probably a good pet for you. If any of these things are deal breakers, then I would think twice before getting even a single parrot. We have 7, 5 of them rescues, and they can be a real handful. Now, the first thing I really find annoying about having parrots is the noise level. My goodness, one parrot, even a small one, can be exceptionally noisy. If you have 7, it can be ever so noisy, and even with training and just even these guys are quite well behaved most of the time, it can be exceptionally frustrating, especially when I want to film and they don't want to be quiet because it's sunny or there's something interesting outside. Yeah, they are really noisy, and don't let anyone fool you that small parrots are quiet. They are really not. Do you want to go fish? Do you want to stay? You can stay a bit then. They really are not quiet. They all have their moments, and some can even be deafening, like the sort of level of standing next to a massive speaker in a concert. Really, really noisy, and it does grate on you sometimes. But you know, it's part and parcel of having them. It is really cute to hear some of their vocalizations and the way they talk and scream and talk to each other. But yeah, what can I say? Now, this next one's probably the thing I genuinely do find the most restrictive and annoying about having parrots, and it is the one that grates on me the most, no matter how much I love them sometimes, because it is difficult, and that is the lack of freedom. Now, when I say lack of freedom, if you have parrots, they need their attention, they need their outings, they need their interactions with you. You can't just be like, yeah, whatever, I don't fancy it. You know, there are exceptions if you're unwell, etc., but they need constant attention, interaction, especially if they're solo birds or there's lots of them. So it's kind of like a military routine here where we have to have them all out. We have to make sure they get all their training, interactions and outings. You can't just go out without planning it because, again, you need to make allowances to make sure they're fed and everything's dealt with. Again, even with a solo bird, these need to be done. And this is probably the worst bit. If you want to just go away or go on a break or whatever, you can't. It's not possible. You need to find someone to look after your parrots while you're away. And if you've got a family member who can do that, it's awesome, or a friend. But a lot of the time they need someone who can get them out or knows what to expect from parrots and how to look after them. And you can't just get a pet sit like with a dog, because many people are totally inexperienced and don't know what they're doing. So me and Sophie haven't been on a holiday for absolutely ages, and we're both starting to feel it a little bit, but luckily that may change because we may have found someone experienced enough to look after the flock while we go away. But yeah, the lack of freedom is difficult sometimes. Sometimes I just want to pop out, do my own thing when Sophie's out. Can't do that. Sometimes I just want to go and play a computer game, but sometimes I can't do that because these guys need their interactions and outings, and I need to make sure that I fulfill my duties to them and that they're okay. Now, the next thing that I find a little bit annoying about having these guys, I don't really hate it, but I thought I'd include it because it can be irritating, is the amount of work these guys require. We're talking about, do you want to go over there? Let's go over there. They require constant cleaning, constant maintenance of toys. You need to replace them, you need to keep your eyes on them to make sure they're okay. Food prep is constant, especially if you want to do it right with fresh foods and all sorts of fun things, and just general work around them. I am hoovering once, twice a day minimum. Sophie's doing all sorts of cleaning, and we've got the usual husbandry stuff and cleaning out. It's just loads and loads of work, and it can be difficult because this stuff has to be done again. And the more parrots you have, the more that work gets multiplied. If you have a couple, 1 cage, probably be a lot more manageable. Actually, I think about it, if I just had 1 or 2 cages, looking at Sophie now, how easy and a dream that would be. But we have 4 in here, and it's just constant work. And again, like with the lack of freedom, all this stuff has to be done, and you can't just avoid it. Wholesale destruction, and I'm not joking. Even small parrots destroy everything. They will chew your wallpaper, they will get into places they shouldn't do and damage things. My controllers for my consoles, my keyboard, mouse, they're on it because they're interested in it when I'm working on it. My mobile, the case is chewed up. They will try and destroy everything. Because parrots are naturally inquisitive with their beak, they like to destroy things. So none of your possessions will be safe. You can also, and there's the poop as well, that will also potentially damage things. But you can get it off, and you have to be prepared for this sort of stuff. It will happen. It is annoying, especially my controllers, because some of them are expensive. But it's just part and parcel of having them, and I've said that a lot. They just like to chew and destroy things. It can be amusing sometimes as well, especially when Kipling or Pickles start throwing my mouse on the floor. Though we shouldn't really be encouraging that. It's just what they do. And the other sort of part of that as well is you want to keep them safe. When they are chewing these things, you want to make sure they're not actually chewing them and ingesting it. You need to be watching them, and that also can be quite irritating because you want to just do your own thing. I want to get on my work sometimes when they're out, but I can't just leave them to it because a lot of things, sadly, in the human environment are dangerous to them. So you always have to keep at least one eye on them. The last thing I want to mention is cost. Parrots are expensive, and that can sometimes be irritating. I don't really find the cost of purchase and toys and food irritating, although it does all add up. But it's those unexpected vet bills, it's those unexpected big costs, like if a cage needs a replacement because maybe it's not as well maintained as we wanted it to be, maybe there's a little bit falling off, whatever. Those are big costs and they can hit, and those are things you have to pay for. If the vet costs, especially if you want to keep your little friend okay and happy, you need to be prepared to pay for that cost sometimes, and it can be a big one. And that is the one that hits the hardest. And also the other thing when I talk about cost is emotional cost. Now a lot of people don't talk about this. It's all happy, lovely, friendly, lovely, blah 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 parrots. There is an emotional cost to having them. All of these things do take a toll on you and can cause stress sometimes, but not only that is worrying about them. When things do happen, there is a stress involved in that, there is a worry for any pet. Just like having a child, you worry about them, and that can have an emotional cost. So you need to be prepared for that as well. And I'm okay with that generally, because I've sort of had that experience in the past where things haven't gone well. And yeah, I just sort of think it's well worth being aware of. There is an emotional cost to it, and all those positives are there, but there's always that flip side. So guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have parrots, I wonder if you can relate to any of these points. Please feel free to comment below. If you don't have parrots but plan on getting them or getting more, I hope I haven't put you off. But these are all actual valid things, I feel, and I wonder if you'd agree with me. Again, comment if you feel like you agree with me. These guys are illustrating how noisy these guys can be, and they love screaming during filming because it's very exciting. But anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see from me on the channel, or just any comments in general. Always happy to hear from you. You can hear me, but in the meantime, take care and have a really good day.